Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Test, test.
No, no, no.
Okay, it's time to get started. I'm going to call this special meeting of the Lawton Water Authority to order. Please call the roll.
Hankins Booker. Present. Smith. Present. Chapman. Gill. Hampton. Uyghur. Williams. Present. Warren.
Okay, quorum is present. Business item number 1, consider and take action with respect to Resolution 25-blank of the Lawton Water Authority, amending the water rate for Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and adopting the amended fee schedule. Rusty.
Yes, over the past couple of years, we've been working. There it is. Over the last couple of years, we've been working with the industries adjusting their water rates, and due to some statutes that were brought to us by our bond council, it became apparent that we needed to make sure that all of our industries were paying an equivalent rate. We were not, we had an issue during one of our loan processes because we had multiple different rates for industries. And Goodyear is the last one to address this. We've addressed the water rate for Republic and for Fort Sill, and then Goodyear is the last one to address it. And what this is adjusting their rates to equal the same as the other two industries, Fort Sill and Goodyear. Goodyear, Fort Sill, and Republic will all have the exact same rate, and it will be adjusted at the same time each year as we have under the contract with Republic Paper. This rate adjustment is 23 cents per thousand this year, July 1, then adjust again in April 1 of 26. Currently our agreement with Goodyear is based upon what are Schedule A fees for water rates, and it's by resolution. It's not a contract. The contract with Goodyear has expired, so currently the resolution that's in existence is by adjusting that fee schedule is how we adjust the rates for Goodyear.
Okay, great. Any questions, council? Seeing none, can I get a motion? Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Hankins Booker. Yes. Smith.
Yes.
Gill.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Motion carries. I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Hankins Booker. Yes. Smith.
Yes.
Gill. Hampton. Williams. Warren.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Lawton City Council to order. Please stand for the invocation by Pastor Eli Garcia with the church and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've given us. God, we come before you today with gratitude for this day. God, and we thank you for the opportunity to serve the people of this city, Lawton. God, we ask that your presence would fill this room, that you would be with us today, that you would be with the council members and the ones that are making the decisions that affect this community. God, we pray that you would bless the mayor, Stan Booker, God, and each council member. God, we pray that you would grant them wisdom, clarity, and unity as they lead. God, we thank you for all of our first responders for the city. God, we pray that you would just keep them safe, God, even as they're out protecting us, God, right now. God, we just thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and your grace, God. Lord, and we just pray for peace and prosperity for this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, Pastor. And that is Eli Garcia with the church. And that brings up item number 1. Oh, did we call the roll? We better call the roll.
Hankins Booker. Smith.
Here.
Chapman. Gill.
Yes.
Hampton. Uyghur. Williams.
Present.
Warren.
Okay, now I'd like to call Melissa Sims forward, and we're going to have Certified Healthy Community certificate presentation.
I sure will. Thank you. He said I have a special mic. I wrote notes.
Special mic for special people.
Thank you, friend. Okay, my name is Melissa Sims. I am a Community Engagement and Health Planning Manager for the Comanche County Health Department and also the 10 counties in Southwest Oklahoma. And it is my great honor to be here today to present the Certified Healthy Oklahoma Honor of Excellence Award to the City of Lawton. This award represents more than recognition. It's a celebration of a community's commitment to health, wellness, and quality of life. To qualify for this award, a municipality must meet specific criteria to support healthy behaviors and environments. These include promoting tobacco-free policies, encouraging physical activity, increasing access to healthy foods, supporting mental health, and providing opportunities for preventative health screenings, just to name a few. Earning this award once is an achievement. Earning it 9 times, as the City of Lawton has done now, it's truly extraordinary. Lawton continues to raise the bar when it comes to building a culture of health, from investing in safe, walkable neighborhoods to hosting community wellness events and supporting local health initiatives. Lawton has shown what it means to prioritize people's well-being. And these efforts aren't just about checking boxes, they're about creating real, lasting change. Your work demonstrates that when city leadership, public health professionals, and community members come together with a shared vision, real progress is possible. On behalf of the State Department of Health, it is my great pleasure to present the Certified Healthy Oklahoma Award to the City of Lawton, to the City of Lawton for the 9th year in a row. Thank you for your continued leadership, your passion, and your dedication to a healthier future for every resident. Congratulations.
All right, and I get the privilege of accepting this. Somebody's going to take a picture and then I'll talk, okay? So what I want to say about this, thank you, Melissa, appreciate this, and coming from the Health Department in the state of Oklahoma, it means a lot, and it takes a community to make this happen. Like the hospitals involved, because, you know, and the Fit Kids, and not just the City of Lawton, it's the community. So I get to receive this on behalf of the community, and a lot of people do a lot of things to make this work, and I have to believe a lot of it is involved in our Propel 2040, where we're doing all the work with our parks, we're doing things with our arts and humanities, we've got activities that include our international festival, all the activities that go along with our 4th of July. I already mentioned Fit Kids, but man, my granddaughters love that Open Streets event that we had just a few months ago. And so many, many activities. Let's give the community a big round for making this happen.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight we just have an Employee Spotlight Award, and again, this is a award that's voted on by the employees of the City of Lawton, by the Employment Advisory Committee. So Michelle Rosario, would you come on up, please? I was joking with Michelle before the meeting. It seems like every other meeting we're recognizing you for something, and that's not by mistake. Michelle is a super employee, but I think most importantly, she's a super person. And a few weeks ago, Michelle was just kind of going about her daily business. I think it was on a weekend. She went to a store, and a elderly lady drove into the parking lot and accidentally hit her accelerator instead of her brake, crashed into 3 cars. And so there was a lot of commotion, there was a lot of damage, there were some people injured. And Michelle, who you were leaving at the time, stayed on the scene, The elderly lady was kind of frightened and scared, and you stayed with her and you kind of calmed her down and you waited till the ambulance arrived. So it's that type of commitment from our citizens to make sure that everybody's okay and to check on everybody's well-being that makes Lawton truly a great place to live. So please give Michelle a round of applause.
Okay, now we're going to receive a report from Marie Deddy regarding the Children's Emergency Resource Center program. Now, this is the program funded through the Youth and Family Committee, correct, John? Okay, so when the citizens passed Propel, the original Propel in 2019, it included some funds for a program to use, and we're going to hear the description of that and the progress that program has made. So, so there you go. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. Now we're ready to go. Okay, thank you, City Council, for having me here to give you an update on Marie Deddy and program that you guys fund that we're so thankful for. It's our gang prevention program. You guys have been funding that for we're in year 4 right now. And we've made a lot of progress in the past few years. And it is, like I said, it's worth telling you guys all about what we're doing and how thankful we are for receiving the funding, because this program is 100% funded by the city. There's no other funding that we utilize to run this program. We had the gang program years and years ago through a different funding source, and we lost that funding just because there were cuts. And so the opportunity to bring this back was something that we had been talking about, and when the funding came open, it just seemed to really fit with what Marie Deddy does. So the program started out pretty slow, and it's been picking up momentum with the number of clients that we have started to see. We have one outreach worker working the program. His caseload is starting to get kind of big, so being able to add someone else is one of our future goals for the program. And so, do I just tell you when I want to change this, or can I do it? Oh, in my hand, look. You can tell I don't have fancy equipment at my place, so you can tell the program impact of why we do what we do. It's the goal of the gang program is to help kids who are involved in gangs or at a risk for being in a gang, to help them find a different way to get involved in the community, to help them stay in school, to keep them out of trouble, out of the juvenile system if we can. Our referrals come from the Office of Juvenile Affairs, that comes from the Juvenile Bureau, and we do get referrals from the school. Sometimes the school sees that there's a kid that needs our assistance, and so our gang prevention specialist, who's Brian Pack, goes in there and works with the kids. So the goal is to connect them with somebody who is a constant person in their life, so they're able to know they've got someone to go to and someone to talk to, and it can help them do stuff. We've done a Peace Fest last year. We're gearing up for our second one in 2025. The goal of the Peace Fest is to make sure that the community as a whole knows that there are people out there looking for safe places for kids to do things. We do it within the community at the King Center. It was a huge hit last year. You can see we had over 285 attendees. Kids came from everywhere. It's a way too for us to educate the kids on gangs and what to look for, how to avoid gangs, what to do instead of joining a gang. We did a gang awareness prevention conference. We had over 31 people. I know Ms. Councilwoman Williams was there. We learned about how gangs are in each community, a way to kind of get the community to see what to look for, things that they can recognize, things that they didn't even realize was going on in their community. Different speakers came in. We learned about how even when people are incarcerated, they are still active gang members in the community, working with people to keep things kind of going, and so we learned how that all worked. The program, we go off a gang model. It's a comprehensive gang model. Those letters stand for Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and these are the modules that we go by when we're implementing the gang program. So you see it's community mobilization, there's opportunities provision, social intervention, suppression, and organizational change and development. And how we do that at Marie-Detty is, ooh, it cut that off, that's okay. Community mobilization, that's where we are trying to get out in the community, connecting the young people with resources, whether it's they've got community service and they need to do that. We've made, you're good, you're fine. They've made connections to the different rec centers and the ways to, like I said, they're able to work off community service. They're going to community events like doing the Peace Fest, really trying to get them involved again in the other things within Lawton community so they know there's other things to do. And sometimes they just don't have anybody to take them to those things. So that is one of the things that our gang specialist does. Making sure that they understand there are positive leisure activities within the community that they can do that doesn't have gang involvement. And also trying to make sure we can get them, if they're not in school, that we can get them re-entered in school. Some of the kids we work with have been suspended. Some of the kids are on the border for getting suspended. And so our advocate is able to go in and talk to the school about, hey, if you don't suspend this kid, you know, if I make sure I come up there every day. He had sat with a kid for a week when he did the program previously to make sure that kid did not get suspended. So he's a guy willing to do anything he can to keep these kids in school and to get them employment opportunities, to make sure that they know how to do a job interview. They know how to fill out an application. They know what to wear when they go to a job interview. And you can see since he started this program back up in 2022, he's had 75 youth that have had job readiness training. He's had taught them about budgeting, how to explore different careers, how to set goals. He's had 33 youth gain employment, and 8 kids graduated. We sometimes don't have the older kids. It just depends on the age of the kid or whether we're going to have people graduating from high school. He helps them get their driver's license. I don't think he's supposed to do this, and he told me this the other day, which I was like, you're not supposed to do this. He's offered to let him use his car to take his driver's test. I was like, I love that you did that, but not a good idea. But they don't have any transportation to even get their driver's license. So, and then again, he's still trying to keep them in school and get them re-entered into school if he can. So another part is going to be suppression, making sure that they've got routine people coming into their life. At Marie-Detty, we have many different programs, and so Brian being the gang specialist, we have mentors over in the same office that he works out of. We have counselors. We're able to utilize our services, and if we don't have it, he knows, Brian has been here forever. He knows everybody in the community to be able to connect those to other services. So we're sharing resources all through the community, and Brian is well known for doing that. So like I said, he's not afraid to go up to the school. The principals call him and have him come check on kids if they're having a problem with a kid and they need him to come just sit down and talk to them and try to encourage them to make better decisions. So we're tracking outcomes when it comes to making sure that, you know, kids are graduating and that they're getting employment. We've noticed here recently something that we're going to start doing is we've noticed a lot of the families have food insecurities, and so helping them do some things in between being able to get to the food bank. We just talked about that actually a few weeks ago because that's a big need, that they can utilize the food bank, but there is sometimes you got to have different documents, different things to get in there, so we want to make sure that we're filling that gap in between, making sure they can have those services also. So if you see how the program has grown, starting at 22, he was having a real hard time getting the program back going. I think we lost a little bit of support, and I think just the trust was lost when we lost the funding for the program. So he had to go back in. You know, gangs are different than it was in 2022, and so a lot of stuff is online, so he's been battling that challenge. And we went from 2 to 7 to 20. He keeps a caseload of 49 right now, which is a lot for one person, which is why that we feel like we need to at least try to add on at least a part-time person that would want to take on part of this program. But you got to find somebody that understands gang activity, and that's just not everybody. So, you can see he's discharged 12, and then he's still got 37 active on his caseload. So we were looking through our recidivism rates, and out of all the clients that he's had, we're at a 22.45% recidivism. So a few kids have reoffended, so they have been arrested again. We track all our kids through the JOLTS tracking system. So any kid that has been arrested or put in through the Juvenile Bureau goes through this JOLTS tracking system, and we can pull through. We can see the kids that are on our caseload, and you can follow them from the beginning of going into the system until they age out of the system to see if they've ever reoffended. So we don't have contact with every child in Lawton, but I feel like that we do a really good job with the kids that we do have contact with when it comes to the gang program. Again, there's just the impact of what we've had over the past 3 years, we're going into our fourth. So we are making an impact, and being able to do that, like I said, this funding is everything to us because it does the entire program. So some of our areas of focus for the next year, like I talked about, hiring another advocate to help Brian out, always increasing community engagement. There's more people, you can get into more places. I know that he educated one of the schools here in Lawton. When he went back in there, they said they didn't have a gang problem in their school. They were actually in one of the spots where the highest amount of gang activities kind of going on. And so once Brian was able to talk to that principal, now he gets calls from him all the time to come and assist him with things. So I think just the kind of guy he is, his ability to make that rapport with people and to educate them on stuff, it has been amazing. And then, of course, we're always trying to reduce recidivism to keep the kids from getting into trouble. So, again, these are more like expansion of some of the goals that we're looking forward to working on for FY26. And, again, if you can get kids to get jobs, keep them in school, and show them that there's other ways, that they do have somebody in their corner to support them, it definitely makes a difference in their future. Oh, did I hit that twice? Oh, okay. And then, I think it's important. We invest in prevention. That is one of the big things that Marie Eddy does. A lot of our programs are about prevention, whether it's parenting, anger management, or the gang program. We're about making sure people get employment. One of the things that Brian had to help one of the families with this last year was help to pay rent and to make sure they did not become homeless, because that was there's just so many different layers we're seeing on top of that, because we also get funding to help prevent that in another program we do. And so it's just the many layers of always trying to make sure that a family isn't going to become homeless, for one, and then they're battling with issues within their family with gang activity and all of that. And a lot of the stuff he does, it's multi-generational. You've got many layers of family members who have been involved in gangs, which makes it difficult for some of the young people to see that there is a different way or another way you can do things, because that's just kind of what they know. And then, of course, I'm going to end with some testimonials of some kids that said they love what Brian does, because, like I said, he is amazing. And like I said, this program would dissolve without the funding from the city, so we are so thankful that we get that. We would make sure that, like I said, if we didn't have it, that we would have to move it into another category to keep the kids we've got. We just couldn't bring on any more kids, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys want to know, if you have questions about the gang program?
Say that again.
Which part?
We do have questions. Is that
Okay,
you?
yes.
So I think this is somewhere, it's over 90, but less than 100, if I remember. Is that right?
It is 100.
It's 100.
100 even.
100
Okay.
even.
Right. Now, I thought we were going to see some juvenile crime stats.
The juvenile crime stats were in, I didn't bring that packet, but it does show to where, like I said, you see the ones that we've had impact on. And when it comes to their, over the, if I can remember the ones from like 22, 23, and 24, they started out like in the 700s, and then it goes to 400, and then to the 300s into the packet that I presented to.
Okay, and those numbers represent numbers of crimes by juveniles reported, right?
Reported in Comanche County.
Okay, in the whole county.
In the whole county, so not
Yes,
just
sir.
the city. It's hard to
Right.
break that part out in the system that
Yeah.
is the tracking system. So we know the ones we've had the impact on, but it doesn't break it down by just Lawton, if that makes sense.
And of course, there's no way we can know for sure and take credit. We have a lot of things going on in the community. but
Absolutely.
I do remember when and it's been long enough, I probably want to check my memory, but It seems like this program had been going on before with a federal grant,
It did.
and when the money ran out, the community was supposed to pick it up. It had shown improvement, but the community didn't pick it up, and juvenile crime went back up.
It did. And this also, because another program that we have is the CIC program, which is another part of funding that we get from the city of Lawton. For that, when we had its own program, was the CIC, which was funded by the Office of Juvenile Affairs, and they dropped that all together. And that was the goal of the city. Each city that had one was to pick up their own and pay for it. And so you guys continue to give us funding to run that, and we run that out of our Children's Emergency Resource Center to make sure we have a bed for police officers to bring kids in who have committed small crimes, not the bigger crimes. When we had the place where it was dedicated just to that service, there could be bigger crimes they could have committed, but we can't do that any longer because it's embedded in our youth shelter. And when we're building our place over on Lee Boulevard, we're accounting for those beds that we use for the CIC program.
So it sounds to me like, and I'm not trying to say it's all this one program, but it sounds like we've had a good 20 or 25% decrease over the life of this program in juvenile crimes reported. Is
Correct.
that correct?
That's about right, yes.
And I saw those numbers, and I wish we had them tonight. I wish we'd release those in case the press or somebody wants them, or do a press release through Caitlin so that the citizens can see
I can do that.
that the program, by the way, they voted for this. This
Yeah.
was sold to the citizens. When we sold the CIP Propel 2019, I think we called that version, and I'm impressed with this report. Thank you, Carrie, and tell
welcome.
Brian thank you. Do we have other comments from the council? Yes, RM.
No, I just want to say thank you. I think anything that Marie Deddy does, it's usually with the mark of excellence.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank
You
you.
have great staff, people that really care, and I like it that it's homegrown. You know, that's important to us, and thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, thank you. I appreciate everything the city of Lawton does for us because there's so much we could not do without you. So I love the partnership, so.
Councilwoman Hankins
Carrie, I
Booker.
might add that Youth and Family Services has a good networking too with other, how many are there in the state now?
There are 37.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know, I know that's not so helpful locally really, but it is, the networking is important. That
It is
was my
very
first job
important.
out of college with Youth and Family, and
I know, I always remember that when I see you, so I always know that you understand the hearts of Youth and Family Services, and it is hard.
Yeah.
Because it is.
we had some fun sometimes
Yeah,
too.
it's good work, and you have to find people that are dedicated, and I feel like I have that. I have some wonderful people that, like I said, I tell them they make my job easier because they love what they do, and you have to be in it because you love it, because you all know nonprofit work and the pay is not outstanding, so you do it because you love it, and
Yeah.
you have to, so.
Good report.
Thank you. Any other questions for me?
Mr. Hampton.
Yes, Carrie, we mentioned county and city and the schools that the youth are in. Are you doing just the Lawton schools or all those schools in the county?
This is done through just the city of Lawton at this point because it
The
is.
funding comes from,
Because the funding comes from the city, yes.
okay, thank you, just was wondering,
ma'am.
thank you.
All the comments, questions? Great report.
Thank you.
It's so good to see, you know, a program working, and we're seeing crime reduced in many areas. We're investing a lot of money in youth, and I think that this is saying that dividends are being paid and that prevention that you brought up is happening. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank
Great
you.
report. And be sure and tell Brian and whoever else is
I
involved.
will. He's waiting for me to tell him how it went, so I
Okay.
definitely will tell him.
All right, thank you. All right, Chief Smith, are we doing Chief Smith? Okay, we're not doing Chief Smith tonight because he is unable to attend. Brings up our reports by our mayor, city council, and city manager. Do you want to start, John?
Sure, Mayor. Council, this Friday is our employee banquet from 6 to 8, and you all are invited.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman?
Had an opportunity to enjoy several Memorial Day events in Lawton and see the patrons, they're supporting our soldiers and those who have gone and given the ultimate,
Sacrifice. Yeah. Councilman. Okay, Councilman.
2 or 3 items of interest. I noticed that the splash pools and some of the other things opened up, so I wanted to make sure we got that out to all the media groups. I know you sent it out, but this time of year, it's really another great thing to have a place for these kids to go and cool off. As usual, a report on the streets and bridges. Wolf Creek, 11th Street, we'll be voting on that contract sometime tonight, hopefully early, not late. And so the construction will actually begin on that about 240 days, and we'll be open back up going south on Highway or on 11th Street. Also 38th Street, which I know everybody is just waiting with excitement to get it finished. We finally got all of the permits from the state and the water runoff division of the state. So construction has actually started on that. Probably not anything you can see yet, but you'll be seeing closures. Still be able to get through, but just certain parts of it closed. You'll just have to kind of go around and make the best of it for about 6 months, and then we're going to have it's like the beautiful new bill. It's a beautiful new road, 38th Street.
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, farmers market, the fresh vegetables and fruits are out. If you happen to make it over there, if you're not feeling too healthy, then I would encourage you, go get some of those fresh vegetables that are grown in this area. I did want to mention and tag on to what Councilman, the Honorable Councilman of Ward 4 spoke about, and thank the Parks and Recs. Ward 5 has 2 wading pools, and those things are really being used by some of the families that are on fixed income. And my wife and I drove around and took a look at that, so we really appreciate that from Ward 5. Mr. Parks. And I think that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Williams.
Just like to announce there's going to be Juneteenth, June the 7th, and it's going to be in the Lawton View area on 14th, and 2 blocks will be blocked on 14th and Georgia Avenue, and it's going to be from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Everything to be free food, activities for everyone. So I invite you all to come out and have some good ribs, chicken, barbecue beans, baked sweet potatoes, some of everything. So the public is invited to come. Everything is free.
All right, Councilman Warren. Colonel, last but not least.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, everybody else. So the Army's 250th birthday is coming up. So America's older sibling. Really excited about that. So for everybody, on 13 June, starting at 0800 at the Moway Complex on Fort Sill, we're having a live fire demonstration. Drones will be flying around with some air defense artillery, field artillery. It's going to be really great. It's a great opportunity. So 08 till whenever we're done. And then after the live fire demonstration, if you want to sign a waiver, you can also go down and fire a cannon. So it's the greatest thing of all time as a field artilleryman, and for shooting fires there, it's really great. So come out and have a great time with that. I recommend that. Then at 1300 or 1 o'clock for everybody else, 1 p.m. at Vesey Hall on the trainee side, we're doing a streamer and cake cutting ceremony. So youngest soldier, older soldier with the CG and Command Sergeant Major of the Fire Center of Excellence will be out there. So it'll be a great day. And then on the 14th, we're really excited to be part of the Armed Forces Parade. And so you'll see a bunch of soldiers out there with some equipment marching alongside a bunch of other folks in the parade. So really excited about that. So again, 250th birthday, very exciting. So really excited for that. And the last thing is our half section is going to participate in the national parade in DC. So it's a big deal for our half section and folks going out there to do that. So that's all I got. Thanks.
All right, one big sign on the side says Lawton Fort Sill. That'd be great, okay? And we do love the Army birthday around here. And last year was fun. And I look forward to doing it again. Look forward to the cake, and look forward to that parade. And the live fire, I got to shoot last week, so I'll probably yield to someone else this time.
What's the date?
So, all right, thank you very much. And thank you, council members, too.
One question.
That brings up
I wanted to ask the date of that live firing again. Was that the 13th?
13, 14.
That's it, 13 June, will be live fire in Moway.
Yep.
Moway Complex on post.
And most people don't know, Flag Day is,
Also 14 June.
that's the Army's birthday.
It
Flag Day
is,
the Army's
absolutely.
birthday.
It is, yep.
Okay? And that brings up audience participation, and I haven't received any speaking requests, right? Okay, so we'll move on to consent agenda. The following items will be considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda prior to action and considered separately. And council, I've got a request to pull item number 6. And that's the only one. Are there any other items you'd like to pull? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Mayor and council, I'd make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of item number 6.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries. Item number 6, consider the following tort claims recommended for denial. Keith Roberts in the amount of $92,000, Lanil Piwardi in the amount of $9,500. We're going to deal with Keith Roberts in the amount of $92,000. Garrett. Keith, if you want to make your way on down, and just have a seat on the front row, okay? Okay, Garrett.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. The basis of this claim, Keith Roberts purchased the property at 7606 Southwest Cherokee Avenue in Lawton, Oklahoma on or about February 11th, 2025. On that date, local real estate agent closed the utility services account. The claimant alleges that between February 20th and February 21st, 2025, a water line froze and busted due to the city not disengaging the water valve to the city's main and caused damage to the house in the amount of $92,000. The claimant has submitted an estimate from Luxury Bath Texoma in the amount of $30,025 to remove and replace kitchen countertops, upper and lower cabinets, backsplash, remove and replace sheetrock, and an estimate from Solid Plumbing in the amount of $1,400 for water line repairs to swap out valves to a Delta single handle faucet, and from Solid Plumbing for also doing a gas pressure test on the water heater and the external valve, and charged the claimant $299 for that test, along with a $150 inspection fee. Claimant has submitted 2 estimates for Homeside Insurance Company for water restoration and remediation, one in the amount of $10,035.07, another in the amount of $8,846.30. It's important to note that the insurance company here denied this claim because the pipes froze and busted due to the house not being properly winterized. The City of Lawton facts are this. According to the City of Lawton Utility Services records, the local real estate agent held the account for 7606 Southwest Cherokee Avenue. And on February 11th, they requested that account be terminated. Service representative entered that request into the computer in a work order format and was submitted to the City of Lawton Field Services Division to disconnect that water. Field Services employee states that on February 12th, 2025, he went and turned off that water and entered a final reading into the computer system. Utility Services is unaware and does not know how or when the water was turned back on. On February 20th, 2025 at 7:19 p.m., the City of Lawton 911 dispatch received a call from the neighbor that water was coming out of the garage at 7606 Southwest Cherokee. Dispatch contacted the after-hours on-call individual at Water Distribution and And according to the on-call water distribution employee, he was in the middle of a main break and in the process of shutting down the city's water main and could not immediately respond. He told dispatch that he would turn the water off as soon as he could. No water usage registered for the time that the local real estate agent had the water turned off until the water started to run again on February 20th, 2025. Although the meter, it's important to know that the meter won't register any water usage until at least 10 gallons of water has been used. According to the invoice stated, from the plumber given to us by the claimant, he found a water leak in the wall behind the master bedroom shower and the hot and cold line suspected valve damage. He gave an estimate to swap out the valves for about $1,400. On March 13th, 2025, the claimant set up the water account and requested the water be turned on. The claimant did not provide an invoice showing that he or the local real estate agent had properly winterized that house. Here it's important to note, based on the Oklahoma Governmental Tort Claim Act, that negligence is never presumed on behalf of the city, and the burden of proving that negligence is on the claimant, and that it's the proximate cause of harm complained of, and the complaining party is responsible for that. And that's from Oklahoma Rye Company versus Ivory. Also, City of Lawton Code 22-21206 states all service pipes and fixtures must be kept in proper repair and must be protected against freezing and waste of water. When it is necessary for the city to shut off water due to faulty house cutoff or any other plumbing trouble, a fee is provided in the fee schedule and shall be made for the service call. No rebates or adjustments shall be made any time during which service or fixtures may be frozen or otherwise defective or water wasted from pipes bursting or freezing. This section clearly indicates the City of Lawton is not the insurer of frozen water pipes. The facts indicate that the property owner or the management company was negligent by failing to heat or properly ensure that the house was winterized due to the possibility of freezing temperatures and the pipes possibly freezing or bursting. Therefore, this office recommends denial of this claim. Questions?
Council, do you have questions? Okay. So we do have a speaker. Mr. Keith Roberts is here with us. Mr. Roberts, come on up and tell us what you have to say.
Can you hear me? All good? All right. Good evening, Mayor Booker, City Council, Colonel Baird. My name is Staff Sergeant Keith Roberts. I'm here regarding my damage for the claim on property at 7606 Southwest Cherokee Avenue. On February 11th, 2025, before I was able to officially move to Oklahoma, the prior owner submitted a request to the city to have the water shut off. The Friday prior to February 11th was the date we closed on the home. I was still not in the state. The city confirmed the shut-off was completed on February 12th, so I had every reason to believe the water was off and the property was protected. On the morning of February 20th, about 4 days before I was able to enter the state of Oklahoma, water began to flood the house. I had a local acquaintance, a friend of my wife, was able to come and check on the house. He noticed the water was also coming out. He manually turned it off himself. This means the city's shut off either wasn't done or it did not hold. It's not obvious to me who would turn it back on once they would say it's been turned off, but if you ask me, that's the real cause of the damage. The city memo says I should have winterized the home. However, I was unable to have the gas turned on until I arrived to Oklahoma due to safety requirements. I was following all of the rules in good faith. If the water had truly been off, the pipes would not have burst. I respectfully ask that the council to consider this evidence and approve full or partial reimbursement. I relied on the city's shut-off for the water main, and it failed. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on just a minute. Council, do you have questions? Mr. Gill?
Got something else. Just to bring a little bit of light to this, it really wouldn't matter if the water was on or off as far as freezing inside, because the water line still will retain water. Valves, elbows, any kind of a U-trap still has water in it, and it will cause the pipe to break or break the faucets. So technically, whether the water was on or off is really immaterial. But the bigger part of the fact is that the city has no responsibility from where that water is turned on and off. It's still the owner or whoever's managing that property to winterize it. If you properly winterize it, it wouldn't matter if water was on or off. It would take care of those lines. So it's very unfortunate, but it's not a city's responsibility.
May I respond?
Go ahead, sure.
Respectfully, understood,
Okay.
pipes can still burst when not winterized. However, the volume of water of what would be standing in a house with water lines turned off versus the volume of water being released into the home if the city had properly shut off the water are two very different conversations.
I just wanted to make that point about freezing and bursting, and it has to be winterized. And if you're going to have water on, then there needs to be heat. So it sounds like either the owner, which would be you, absentee, or the management company that was taking care of it, that's where the responsibility lies.
Mr. Roberts, did you not have insurance on the home?
I do have homeowners insurance, yes, sir. The home was purchased with a VA home loan. It requires homeowners insurance.
Okay, so you do have insurance, and the city, even if the city had a responsibility, if I'm not mistaken, the law says the insurance pays, right? You can't, how does that work?
The information that we had, and I'm assuming that came from Mr. Roberts, said that insurance had denied his claims. Then he'd be responsible to go back to his insurance company to fight that or whatever he wants to do. Obviously, I'm not giving him legal advice.
Okay, okay.
That's the information I got, that the insurance company denied it. So there was a reason that the insurance company denied it.
Here from my claims investigator, she said that she had information that the insurance company had denied the claim based on failure to winterize the home.
Exactly. Thank you.
Wow. Ms. Williams?
Did I hear you say your neighbor, somebody, it wasn't the city that eventually cut it off,
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Yeah, the city did not turn off the water to the home. A friend, a local acquaintance that lived in the neighborhood that also identified the flooding, shut the water off after the request had been submitted sometime afterwards.
Of course, that is disputed because our employees say they did turn the water off. We have any other questions or comments? Do you have any questions or comments for our attorney? Does anybody have a motion on that?
Because of negligence on winterizing the house, I make a motion that we deny the claim.
Do we have a second? We do have a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion to deny carries. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, and that brings up Lanil Prewardy in the amount of $9,500. Come forward if you would, sir.
Okay. So the basis of the claim is submitted by the claimant, Lanil Prewardy, and I apologize if I'm not getting your name exactly correct, is the owner of the property located at 1719 Northwest Kenyon Avenue in Lawton, Oklahoma. Mr. Prewardy alleges over various past years that sewage has settled into his little house in the rear of his property. Claimant has submitted an estimate from JD Concrete in the amount of $3,000 for the concrete foundation that is cracked, and an estimate from Black Sheep Renovations LLC in the amount of $6,500 in order to replace damaged framing. The facts as they are according to the City of Lawton. According to Wastewater Collections Superintendent Mr. Glenn Hinton, Wastewater Collections received a sewer backup call on February 28, 2025 for the address of 1719 Northwest Kenyon Avenue. A Wastewater Collections crew was dispatched the same day and cleared an obstruction of routes at that address. Wastewater Collections Supervisor Ron Ayala Jr. was on site and took pictures, and we actually have the pictures here. These are the pictures taken the day of the alleged sewer backup of inside what Mr. Prewardy refers to as his little house or back structure. There are several pictures here, Donna Lynn. Okay. It appeared to Mr. Ayala that if there had been damage previously, that there could have been damage from maybe a busted water line in the shed, but there was no clear evidence of sewage backup in that little shed or in the house in the back. On March 3rd, 2025, wastewater collections received another call, and the crew routed approximately 44 foot of line to clear another obstruction of roots. The claimant did not report any damage at that time. Wastewater collections did not have any notice regarding any other obstructions to the city's main. Here for this case, the first backup where Mr. Pee Wee Wardy alleges that his little house in the back or his shed was damaged due to the sewer backup, the city just couldn't find evidence of that, and for that reason, the city has recommended denial of this claim.
Okay, do you have any questions before we have Mr. Pee Wee Wardy come? Okay, Mr. Pee Wee Wardy, would you approach the mic, please, and tell us what you have for us?
Pee Wee Wardy. We lived in this house since '61. It used to be the house in the back, we call it a little house, 20-foot by 20-foot house. Nothing wrong with it. It sits a little lower than our big house. It sits lower. That water has been turned off for about 40 years. There's no water or electricity. As you can see, we use it for storage. And over the years, that concrete has been coming apart. I never really noticed it at first. Maybe I thought it was a foundation or whatever. But then again, realize it now, you know, it's the water that's under there. And it's coming from the sewer because the water has been turned off in that little house for 40 years. Where's the water coming from? We had issues. Nobody should have to go through what I went through since August. I've talked to 3 plumbers. You know how much plumbers cost? Plumbers, these guys came out here 6 times. And I got all that. They cleared it out. Sometimes it wouldn't clear it out, whatever. They just came out recently, as what, 3 weeks ago. And you ought to see, I took pictures of that, and that water is all over my backyard. And it's seeping in the little house. And that's been happening for years. Again, there's no water was turned on for 40 years in that house. Where's it coming from? It sits lower, and it's got a V. It's got a V that comes in from their sewer line, and it's stopping up. That's why I called since August. I had everybody come over. Plumbers were saying, no, it's the city. No, it's them. No, it's them. Hey, just get together. I tried to get them together. Called sewer department. They know me very well. I have an issue that I want solved. I want people to get together. The denial's not based, they're based on assumptions. Those denials are based on assumptions. They're not proven. There's 3 of them. Thought there was a leak in the bottom. It's running fine, but that sewer backs up into my little house. It backs up, and that's the foundation is $3,000. The rest of it is apparently the plumbers came and said through the years that water's been seeping in. It's on the wood. That's the big part right now. It's been coming for years. But that water backs up. And it's backed up in my big house. You can see the water. Good thing I use those things that the tops have holes in them because it comes out. And you see it about 3 weeks ago, it was all over. It was all over my backyard. And you go in there, it's full. But good thing my house is a little higher, it doesn't seep up, but my little house is low.
Okay.
And it's seeping all the way through there.
Are there any questions for Mr. Pee Wee Wardy?
I've got one question.
Okay.
Don't you consider the fact, because that is lower than your regular house, that every time it rains, that water, probably the drainage is not really good, and because it's lower, it's getting damaged just from the rain because of a lower foundation? That's what it sounds like to me.
It happened with the rain and not the rain.
Well,
It's happening. It's somehow the sewer is backing up without the rain.
But there's no trace of any sewage evidence that has damaged the house, is my understanding.
Not in the house, but right before the house, where it comes up, you can see it came out like toilet paper, sewage, smell. You guys wouldn't want to live in that situation. It could come up into my house, but it's right there. Right where my big house is, there's a sewer right there. The good thing I don't have those closed, you know what I mean, those closed ones, they're open, because they got vents. They didn't have that, it's just venting out there.
Does your sewer line from your house run anywhere in the vicinity of that little house that's lower grade?
Excuse me?
Your sewer line from your house to the main, does it run anywhere close to that little house?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there other questions for Mr. P. Woodward? Are there any questions for the attorney? Is there a motion? I believe this is in Ward 2, isn't it?
Who's the council person for that area?
I think this is in your ward. Do you want to make a motion? Motion to deny. Is there a second? Did you say second?
I said second.
Okay, we do have a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote. And the motion to deny carries. Thank you for coming, Mr. Peabody.
It's just low grade.
Okay, that brings up business items. Number 35, hold a public hearing to receive input from the citizens of Lawton regarding the City of Lawton's proposed budget for fiscal year 2026, and after due consideration of the city manager's proposal and citizens' input thereof, provide direction to finalize the budget or take action to approve the budget with any revisions by resolution as deemed appropriate. Rebecca.
Mayor, it is on. This is the follow-up from our budget that we presented last council meeting. It is the open hearing for the citizens.
With that, I will open the public hearing on the budget. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. And Bettina filled out paperwork, but as this is a public hearing, a speaking request is not necessary. So anybody that wants to speak can have their 3 minutes. And Bettina, if you'll come forward. And I have your address here, so. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to express my concerns about the budget. I'm very disappointed in the apparent misallocation of taxpayers' funds. When funds are moved around from their destination purpose for other projects, it is directly impacts the integrity of our budget. This practice creates financial instability. It is not the responsibility of the citizens to suffer the consequences of what we perceive as a financial mismanagement. We demand that our taxpayers' money be used precisely for what it's allowed it to, with full transparency. I just would like for y'all to use the money like it's supposed to be used instead of moving it around, and we probably wouldn't have this budget that's in shambles. And you all do not listen to the citizens when they come up here, because we come up here and express things that we don't want, but y'all do what y'all want, and now the citizens are suffering from the budget. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Is there anybody else that'd like to come forward and speak on the budget, the 26 budget? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, do you have questions for the city manager and the finance director, or a motion if you don't have any questions? Mr. Warren, your light's on.
I turned it on. I have a quick question. Where in the budget do we show, or do we budget for FOIA requests?
I'm sorry, do we budget for what?
Freedom of Information Act requests?
I believe they're just built into the administrative part of each one of our departments.
Do we know how much?
It would be difficult to make an estimate on what we spend or bring in on FOIA requests. I think for our last fiscal year, our highest estimate on one request was about $67,000 for just one.
But we haven't budgeted anything
No,
in this
sir.
next year?
No.
Oh, and that was just a single request, or was that a group of,
No, that was one single request.
what was requested?
This was a request for a large volume of emails, so the high price on it was time redacting those emails. It's the time of an employee.
There has to be some kind of, I would guess, there has to be a reason for that. Was there anything provided as to what this individual, or is it an individual or a group, or?
So according to the Open Records Act, there doesn't have to be a stated reason for the request. It was a very broad request from, it wasn't an individual, it was a media company, so they're actually exempt from the fees.
Okay, so let me get this straight. They requested emails for no apparent reason, and it cost us almost $70,000? Or cost the citizens $70,000? And I'm assuming that nothing came of it. I don't know, because I don't know what was requested. But $70,000 is the cost of a first-year firefighter or a first-year police officer or pretty much any employee first year. Can we get some kind of information as to what was requested as far as, do they have, I know in the old days you had to say, I want to know about what person X said about, I don't know, Chevrolet cars or whatever. I mean, do we have any way of knowing that? Is that something that we could know?
Yes, absolutely. So the request was for all of Mayor Booker's emails for, I believe, a 2, maybe 3-year period. There was no cap on what emails, so it produced a large volume that had to be reviewed and redacted as needed.
So for each one of those emails, somebody has to read that, make sure there's nothing that can't be released within that. And since it was media, they don't have a rule as to what they can ask for. They can just ask for anything.
Yes, I mean, anyone can ask for anything. The media exemption is that
They just
media-
don't have to pay for it.
They don't have to pay for it.
Wow. Okay. Maybe we should budget for FOIA requests from the media.
Mr. Gill.
In fact, was it not Channel 7 chef, the reporter, who isn't here tonight? Isn't that strange? I find this very unhelpful to the city, where we have someone on a witch hunt requesting emails, and it costs the city $70,000. I wish there was some sort of law that they had to put a reason and had to prove that reason or pay for it. And I think it would stop some of this. In the name of transparency, we're always wanting transparency, and we need it. So that comes from both sides. So if Channel 7 wants this information, then that's great. If we know what they're looking for, we have to provide this. We have to give them all these emails because they're hunting one thing or the other. So I'm not very happy about it, because I don't like spending the city's money and just blowing it away. And I don't see any particular purpose involved in this other than just costing the city money. So I don't know that there's anything we can do about it, maybe even a lawsuit, that if they can't provide the reason and come up with something, then they would have to pay for it.
Other questions? Mr. Warren?
I just wanted to tag onto that. I'm all for transparency. I think transparency is a great thing, and I don't have a problem with that portion of it at all. I just think that, and I don't know what the reasoning was behind it. I haven't seen a big expose from any media outlet as to, some wrongdoing or something that's happened that's inappropriate or anything like that. And it just seems to me that it's just a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's almost a double waste because we had to pay that person to go through emails, and at the same time, we had to pay somebody else to do what that person normally would be doing. I don't know. I'm like Councilman Gill. I don't know, who we have to talk to at the state, or it's a federal deal. We're not ever going to move that mark, I don't think.
It's a state statute.
Is it a state
Yeah,
statute?
it's a Open Records Act. It's a state statute.
Well, maybe we can move the needle a little bit that way, but we need to be able to do something to make the person asking responsible for it. It's really not fair for Joe Blow citizen to have to pay for 100 pages of whatever they ask for, but the media can cause the citizens to have to pay $65,000 or $70,000 because they have some kind of axe to grind or just, got their jollies that way.
Mr. Hampton.
I've got one more question. I'm sorry, Alan, I jumped in front. Just quickly, Donald Lynn, is it not Seth that's been asking for this?
Yes, the request is coming from KSWR.
And so my second question, and then I'm going to yield to Councilman Hampton, is a legal question. I'm going to keep beating this horse. Is there something we can do legally, maybe, or in a good response to TV7, that they could send a representative here to speak in front of the council and tell us exactly what they'd like to save them time and us time and definitely money? Is this something we need to look into possibly?
So the council can always request media to get in touch with either them or staff and to provide an explanation for what's being asked for. It's up to the media if they want to. Under the law, like Donald said, they're not required to provide any explanation. No citizen is. As to what we can do about it, it's very frustrating, but we do have an Open Records Act that is fairly designed for transparency. It's designed so anyone can request records from the city. But when the records become so broad like this, it becomes burdensome really for staff that, like Councilman Warren said, that we have to do our jobs plus this other monumental job and then having to do quite a bit of redacting. It takes a long time and diverts resources.
Would that meet the definition of a witch hunt?
Well, that's for each person to decide themselves.
I yield the rest of my time.
I will answer this though, that if you wanted to change the law, you would have to work with your state representatives to sponsor a bill.
Mr. Hampton.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that overall, when we step back and look at ourselves as a community, I see many other communities working together as a team to try to help to put at least the positive foot forward to allow people to see our community for what it is. And we are doing some real fantastic things. And it is no doubt that if somebody's doing something that is not lawful, then there needs to be an investigation. But the constant look of some of those people that should be responsible, I think, to help us look like a better community, the constant need to try to find something wrong all the time, I think it really puts a negative spin on anything. I guarantee you, if I did that to my wife, I would not be married very long. And I say that because we all live here in this community, no matter what, and including all the media and everything, and I'm sure that they understand that. It is either some editors or someone else that's doing that. And mind you, just like Councilman Warren said, listen, if someone's doing something wrong, let's investigate them and find out what the problem is. But the constant, that's all that happens to me in the news. We need to start talking about some of the things that we're doing on a very positive level. I mean, it is true that maybe the mayor isn't the cleanest person in the world by some people's standard, but he was the mayor of the year last year, I think. And where is all of that? We're fixing all the roads in town. We're fixing all the sewer lines in town. We are doing maintenance on this town that hasn't been done in a lot of years that needs to be done. It's inconvenient, but we are doing it, and we are fixing the parks. We are doing a lot of positive things. John and his staff are carrying out a lot of things that we have done. So I just want to say that I agree. Somehow we need to make the turn here and take, you know, if there's someone doing something wrong, let's investigate them. Let's get it right. But that Open Meeting Act wasn't set up to try to badger a bunch of people because you're not happy or have some other agenda. And I could carry on, Mayor, but listen, a lot of good things are happening here in Lawton. And to focus in on all these negative things is just something that I think needs to be said, and I'm glad this was brought up. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, maybe we need to put an agenda item on to discuss this. We're kind of, I know our intent is unexpected expenses or expenses that the citizens shouldn't have to pay for, but we're kind of getting off in our discussion. Believe me, I love our discussion and what's saying, because I do think it's harassment, but attempts to intimidate, et cetera. But I feel like we need to talk about the budget directly today. Okay, now, Mr. Warren, do you have something
I was just
more?
going to
direct?
say it's my fault.
Okay, other comments about the budget?
I'll say, again, I mentioned it the other day, I think John and his staff, this young lady at the podium, I think y'all have really done a bang-up job. It was an ugly budget. I mean, that was a lot of money that people asked for. Here's what we need to do. This is what we need to make our job work. And they had to whittle that down to something that we could afford. And it would be really easy if we had all the money in the world. If we were the federal government, it would have been simple. It would have been like a 2-day deal, and we'd all went home. But that's not what we're faced with. We're faced with having to build a balanced budget and try to satisfy everybody at the same time. And I just think John and his staff have done a wonderful job.
I agree with that, and I think that unfortunately we kind of put out some messaging there that probably didn't play well with, made it sound like we were in some kind of bind, but that's going to happen anytime you've got the media jumping in.
Yes, Mayor, I just want to say that to get from point A to point B, you take steps of actions to get into that direction. And things may not be perfect. We just came off of all that ARPA money that came down, which was a windfall. A lot of stuff was done, and then we had to kind of pull back. And I think that it's a fantastic job of John and his staff to pull back and to get us into this position that we are, considering all the stuff that we're doing. And we're doing a lot of good stuff. And I want to show some appreciation to the John and his staff.
Mayor, I was just going to publicly acknowledge a few of the other key players here. Kristen Huntley, our Deputy Finance Director in the back, played an instrumental role. And our Deputy City Manager, Dwayne Burke, was also played a key role in this process as well. So I want to acknowledge them too.
All right, council, we've had our public hearing. You've had your opportunity to discuss. You're still free to ask a question if you want to, but if there's no more questions, let's have a motion and get on. Motion for approval and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Mayor, you can vote.
I vote on this?
You do, sir.
I'm afraid I pushed non-voting on my deal.
Mayor, I'll take your vote verbally.
My vote is yes.
I knew that.
Okay, so the motion for the passage of the budget passes. Bringing up item 36, receive and discuss funding recommendations concerning the city's hotel motel tax fund and receive direction to adopt, modify, or revise said recommendations concerning the staff's FY26 hotel motel tax recommend expenditure list. Rebecca, you doing this? You must be. You stayed there.
Rebecca Turner.
Mayor and council, we accepted applications for this year's hotel motel tax. They were reviewed by the city manager, deputy city manager, Kristen Huntley, and myself, and this is the recommendation that we are presenting to you for the FY26 budget.
Council, do you have questions? Do I have a motion for approval or denial? We have a motion for approval and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries. Item number 37, consider approving resolution repealing Resolution 93-68, authorizing the transfer of the existing fund balances and establish an effective date. Michael.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So this and the next two items, which are companion items to this one, is necessary, needed for our merger of our stormwater management and our drainage maintenance divisions into one division, the stormwater maintenance division. This particular resolution dissolves 93-68, which was the initial resolution that created our drainage maintenance fund. And this one then transfers the fund balance at the end of this fiscal year to just the stormwater maintenance fund, so that we don't have two funds. It's just in one fund now that the division would be working out of. Any questions?
I'm sorry.
No, go
I've got
ahead.
a question. As we discuss this in 1, 2, and 3 other meetings, what is the net final ending of combining these together as far as increase in fee on the water bill?
So there's no increase on fee by merging these together. The third item on here is the fee schedule. You'll see at that fee schedule, one increases, but by that increasing, it eliminates the other fee completely, and it ends up being a net.
A net white.
Correct.
A net white, right? Doesn't affect or does it increase it any at all?
It does not increase it at
And
all.
will we be able to pick up funds out of this so that we can pay out the debt service that we have created with the state? Is that-
We do not have any debt service with the state for stormwater and drainage.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other comments? A motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Motion for approval and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries. Bringing up item 38, considered an ordinance pertaining to stormwater and floodplain management, amending section 19A 11106, 19AA 11107, both in division 19A 11 and section 19A 12124, division 19A 12, all in article 19A1, chapter 19, Lawton City Code 2015, by updating the account that drainage in lieu of on-site detention fees are collected, modifying the responsibilities of the Stormwater Drainage Advisory Committee, establishing the purposes of the stormwater maintenance fee, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date. Michael.
Yes, sir. So this is a companion item to the last item, essentially just changing all of our city code to reflect that there is no longer a stormwater management and a drainage maintenance division separate. The first part of this is going to be to change the account that the drainage in lieu of on-site detention fees are currently deposited into. Right now, they deposit into their own fund. These would just be now going into the main drainage maintenance account instead of being in a separate account, so we can do more with that. We normally only collect about $2,000 to $3,000 a year in that. It's not much that we can do with that fund, with those funds as far as capital improvements. So we just want to be able to put that into the normal fund to be able to work bigger things with that. We also have the stormwater capital improvement projects for the Stormwater Drainage Advisory Committee. We have them, we changed it to where they were currently are making recommendations on how to spend the drainage in lieu of fees, and they would be now making recommendations as to priorities of stormwater capital projects. And then the last item on here was just making it so that the clarifying what the stormwater maintenance fee is going to be used for.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the ordinance, waive the reading of the ordinance, and read the title only.
Is there a second? We do have a second. Please read the ordinance. Oh, you have a comment?
Randy, did you have something? Yeah, I just want to clarify two things, Michael. Merging these two divisions together is going to save the citizens money. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you expound a little bit on those savings for the citizens, please?
Sure thing. So essentially what's going to end up happening is there's less overlap in between our supervisory and administrative managerial personnel. So we'll be able to save the funds on that.
Okay, and you'll be able to combine some of your projects and use less equipment and whatnot to make sure we streamline that operation. And then on the water bill, the citizens will only see they will see the 125 go away, and that will be added to the 230 for a 355, a combined 355, with no increase at all on the water bill when they look at those line items, correct?
Correct, and that the exact wording of the utility bill, we were just discussing that earlier. We're working on that based on whether or not it passes today, but regardless, the net is going to be $3.55, which is what the citizens currently pay.
Okay, they currently pay that in two lump sums, 125 and 230.
Correct.
But now they'll just pay the one fee of 355 on one line item. Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Any other debate? Please vote. Oh, please read the title.
Sorry. An ordinance pertaining to stormwater and floodplain management, amending section 19A-1-1-106 and 19A-1-1-107, both in division 19A-1-1 and section 19A-12124, division 19A-12, all in article 19A-1, chapter 19, Lawton City Code 2015, by updating the account that drainage in lieu of on-site detention fees are collected, modifying the responsibilities of the Stormwater Drainage Advisory Committee, establishing the purposes of the stormwater maintenance fee, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Please vote. Motion carries. Bring up item 39. Consider a resolution amending Article A 22-1, Chapter A22, Appendix A, Schedule of Fees and Charges, Lawton City Code 2015, pertaining to utilities by merging the stormwater management and drainage maintenance fees together and not increasing the fee. Michael.
So this is what we've been asking about, is this is the actual modification of the fee schedule to reflect the conversations that we've had in the previous two items.
Question, may I have a motion for approval and a second, discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries. Mr. Gills made a motion to go into executive session.
Yes.
And I need a second. We have a second. Please call the roll.
Hankins Booker. Smith.
Yes.
Gill.
Yes.
Hampton. Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
We're going to the new room? Yes, sir.
more quicker than I am. That's okay. Hey, Kim.
Okay, we're back from executive session. Mr. Warren, do you have a motion for us?
Move to return to regular session.
Is there a second? Please call the roll.
Hankins Booker? Smith?
Yes.
Gill? Yes. Hampton? Williams? Present. Warren?
Item 40, Tim.
Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, council convened an executive session to discuss status of an ongoing investigation concerning CDBG funds and other housing division-related matters. That conversation occurred. No action is necessary.
Item 41, Tim.
Pursuant to Section 307B1, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, council convened an executive session to review the employment of John Ratliff as city manager, and that conversation occurred, and no action is necessary.
Is there a motion for adjournment? Okay, we have a motion for adjournment and a second. That was Mr. Gill. Please call the roll.
Hankins Booker? Smith?
Yes.
Gill? Yes. Hampton? Yes. Williams?
Yes.
Warren?